What happens when you take an ordinary guy
Hey, I'm Vigo.
who admits to knowing next to nothing about politics,
What are you talking about? To be honest, I would say.
set him loose on 3 of the UK's biggest political events of the year
I've heard some people call you the Prince of Darkness.
I want you to know, Vigo, I am paralysed with tedium about this.
on a mission to make a difference?
How do you change things? How do you make things better?
Wonder what happens next? Well, stay tuned, because all will be revealed.
I'm Vigo. I mean, I live in Bristol, and where I've come from, it's kind of a rough kind of background, and I mean, a lot of people who I know seem to have, given up hope. I've been homeless. I've been homeless, staying on the bench. It's not nice, man, especially in the cold. When I was out in the winter, trying to get a job, the whole unemployment issue is just crazy. I mean, it's just out of control. I mean, I myself, I've had like one job, and 2 years of searching for a job. System, it just seems like it's broken down. I mean, the credit crunch is a huge thing, but I mean, you're told a job, whatever job centre or whatever, when you're getting that income, you're told, yeah, go and look out for jobs, when they know purely there's no job out there for a young person. I mean, what is it when you're coming into a world like this? What are you supposed to think? I don't know if I would have voted. I think next year is going to be the first time I get to vote, but I don't think I would have voted really, because I didn't really have that push, that motivation really for me to go forward and actually use my vote and really understand, like I said. But I mean, definitely now, but I'm going to get this insight and have this, politics around me and really understand. I think I'm really going to, use my vote.
If you're going to be stepping into the political arena, you need expert advice. Well, at least Vigo's in the right place.
You can't afford not to do your research. You've got to do your homework. You've got to be willing to listen. Remember, it's their show, not yours.
With people like sort of the top TV reporters that we see, we know what questions they're going to ask. They've got an agenda, they've got a particular issue. You're asking things that matter to you.
It's a great skill also to listen to the answers, so if he says anything that you want to pick up on, that you can bounce off that.
What are young people interested? They're interested in whether they're going to have a job, whether it's going to be decent paid, whether they're going to have somewhere to live.
So if you really want to get him to answer something, you push him.
Employer says, oh, well, I want someone with experience, and you think, how can I get the experience if I can't get the first job or first step on the ladder?
I know a lot of people listening to this are going to think, what's the point in voting? I tell you what, there's more point in voting than not voting.
So many people have died that not to vote is like it's stamping on their memory.
Each one of you have a vote, and they need that vote. So it's, you've got every right to go in and ask them.
Vigo's journey has attracted a fair bit of media attention, including a full-page article in The Times, who, in partnership with Mediabox, are backing our up-and-coming journo. And it doesn't end there. Vigo takes his calls live to the airwaves.
Vigo, we're going to go to you now, right?
The home of free speech.
How do you think we should deal, and you're a young guy yourself, and often these guys we're talking about are actually younger than you. How do we deal with these kids who are running riot on our streets?
I think it starts at the earliest age possible. I think school, I think families need to be there, because the structure, the mum, the dad, the brother, sister, whatever it's structure needs to be there from the beginning, so they can take on this world that they're thrown into.
Do you think if we had more young people in politics, that would actually help?
I think that may help us relate.
Yeah.
Especially as young people.
Vigo has a packed schedule with little time to stop and take stock of the day's events.
Unemployment, of course, is the biggest issue facing young people in Britain. What is your plan of action, to get them back to work?
What we're announcing here is our proposals to get Britain working, and it's our work programme, which is a radical reform of welfare, which would mean that young people who've been unemployed for 6 months would then be given specialist help through a specialist provider, somebody who's actually worked with people before to help get them back into the workplace.
After his radio gig, Vigo is whisked off to the big speech of the day.
Right now, with my husband, my hero, the leader of our Labour Party, Prime Minister Gordon Brown.
As Vigo watches the Prime Minister's speech, it's hard to believe that there are less than 24 hours until Vigo interviews the big man himself. His nerves are starting to show. But it's not every day that someone gets to interview the leader of the country.
We've changed the world before, and we're going to change the world again.
But on the day of the interview, there has been an unexpected shock in the Labour camp.
So, the Sun, once faithful in Gordon Brown and his policies as Prime Minister, now seem like they're switching sides, you know, and I'm backing Tories, perhaps the future winners.
We had a pretty good idea 2 or 3 weeks beforehand that we would come to Brighton, we'd have a look at the Prime Minister's speech, and if we didn't like what we heard, then that would be the night that we would go on it.
How have Labour even reacted anyway? I mean, has Gordon Brown called you up personally and are you little?
Some of them have been very grown up, some of them have been very mature and have said, look, this won't change our professional relationship. You're still the biggest newspaper, we're still the government, we're still going to communicate with your readers, so that's really professional. Others have been less so.
How do you feel about the Sun today?
Well, the first thing is I wasn't surprised.
No?
It's about as surprising as discovering that the Pope is a Roman Catholic. They really have convinced themselves that they are the determining influence in British democratic politics.
By circulating at the party conferences, Vigo is hoping to get a strong idea of who will win his vote come polling day.
You know, I'm first-time voter and first-time general election for me. You know, why should I win your vote?
Because it's time for a change from these clapped-out, decayed, miserable Labour guys who've lost the will to live. And I think you've got a Conservative Party that is vigorous, that cares about people, all levels of society, that wants to improve education, wants to focus on getting people into work. It's completely changed from the Conservative Party of 20 years ago.
So have you seen David Cameron? Have you even had a chance
we had a
to
bit
see him? I mean, how's your relationship with him?
Well, I want you to know, Vigo, I'm paralysed with tedium about this. Now, I think... Really? I think that the media has done the most incredible job of confecting, pretending that there's some great division between me and David Cameron and everybody else, and when actually there's a state of glutinous, almost emetic harmony.
After an entertaining interview with Boris Johnson, Vigo pays a visit to another top political figure.
I've heard some people call you the Prince of Darkness. I mean, what is that all about?
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. Maybe because of your policies, perhaps? Or
no. It's because years ago in the 1980s, when I was sort of nearer your age than my age now, I famously, in quotes, became the first British spin doctor. And they talked about the black arts of spin doctoring, and therefore they called me the Prince of Darkness. But I've grown out of that. I've just become...
You're just the Prince now?
I'm just the...
Prince of Lightness.
Prince of Lightness.
Is the future bright, do you reckon, for young people?
Well, I think the world's becoming more complicated, not less. There's a lot of risk that we share around the world. But the question is, how do we respond to that risk? Come and join us.
Hey.
Get on board.
Join the dark side.
Yeah, quite.
So, as Vigo hits the final stretch of his journey, it's time to question the leaders.
Next year is all going to be about change. Everyone knows we're going to have change. Everyone knows that the Labour government's dying. So the question is, what kind of change? Are you going to go for change which, in my view, the Conservatives offer change which is not really change, it's fake change. They talk about broken Britain and their only tax policy is tax breaks for the very rich. Or do you vote for a party, the Liberal Democrats, who are different on the Iraq war, on the environment, on civil liberties, on what to do about these wretched bankers in the City of London? Real change. We offer, for instance, big tax breaks for the vast majority of people on low and middle incomes, asking people at the top to pay a bit more. We've got a plan.
Vigo has a rare opportunity to put questions directly before the people who can make a difference.
Today you announced you get Great Britain working again, people in my situation and people similar to me. How would you help that?
We recognise everyone is different, but we're going to put a huge amount of effort and money and resources into getting people the help they need to give them the job. But there is a tough bit, which is we are going to be saying to people, you can't live a life on welfare of just saying, I'm going to take the benefits and not work. If you can work, you've got to work.
Faced with so much political rhetoric flying about, it's easy to see how an average person can get confused. But Vigo seems as focused as ever, and even has time for a last-minute pep talk.
If
he says something that you don't think is addressing the question that you asked, you can ask the question again. For the problems that you have had in your background, you can blame quite a lot of it on Gordon Brown and Peter Mandelson, because as a very young man, you're 21, right?
Yes.
So they got in 1997, so a big part of your life was during the Labour government.
No turning back now.
How should I address you, first of all? Gordon, yeah?
Oh, please, yeah.
Not Mr. Brown, or?
And how do I address you, though?
Vigo. It's just me, Vigo. A lot of fuss is going on about the Sun, of course, with them switching sides. I mean, do you think media is that powerful, to influence the minds of voters even?
Well, when it comes to an election, it's got to be the people who decide.
Next year, the first time I'll be able to elect in the general election, do you think, there's enough political education for people out there, especially young people, to understand the importance of how to use their vote and, understand who the country's run by?
What do you think?
I personally don't think there is enough. I mean, I don't think I got taught enough about politics. I'm only now really, since Obama got elected, that's what really motivated me.
You've got citizenship studies in schools, which I think is getting better. And I think the more that we see the benefits of the internet, people can sort of talk and debate things with each other.
Do you think the youth have a bright future? Is there a bright future?
Yeah, for people who've got the will to work and the talent that they can develop, and they'll find their talent if they get the chance to be coached and everything else, there are huge opportunities ahead. This is a huge, exciting world ahead, and once we get through this recession, I think people will start to see that these opportunities are there for them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Brown.
Great, thank you. Thank you
very much.
And very good of you doing this interview with me. I enjoyed it very much.
Well, just came back from the conferences. I got to say, it was like a huge experience for me, personally, just to be among everything, politicians, reporters, journalists, something that was really going on, was really valid and meant something, meant a lot to people. And I was a part of that, I was speaking to them about all the issues. I mean, it was a great thing. Shaking my hand, you just spoke to me like a man, not patronized me or anything like that. I feel like, to a certain point, I am, kind of enlightened. I have a better understanding of what's going on in the world, and just having my voice heard. I mean, I think now in my mind I'm a bit more concrete and solid with what I want to do, who I want to vote for, and I feel like I can come back here, and being influenced in in this area, in my own area, and then spread that knowledge that I know out and my own opinions out and put them across stronger. Great thing. I mean, I like doing it, love doing it, and being a part of that.